few months ago, I gave birth quickly, easily, and nearly painlessly. And a lot of people on Instagram were like, oh, you just got lucky. And that is not true. There was a lot of prep work that went into having the birth that I did. Everything from the food I ate, how I moved, my mindset, all of it contributed to my positive, natural birth. And today I want to share the top ways that I prepared my body and my brain to naturally cope with labor pains and give birth easily. This list is not comprehensive, but it will get you started. If we haven't met, my name is Maria. I'm a Lamaze-Certified Childbirth Educator, a birth doula, and owner of the app Natural Birth by Echo, an evidence-based resource with all of the tips and tricks you need to make your unmedicated birth a positive one. Okay, the number one tool that you need is mindfulness/breath work. People say it all the time, take a deep breath, center yourself. But why though? Does it actually do anything? Yes, and I'll share the data with you. In 2011, an 8-week study was done on mindfulness and its relationship to pain perception. Every day for 8 weeks, participants would practice mindfulness techniques such as breath work or visualization. The idea was to train their brains to observe their surroundings without emotion, without giving it any more attention than it deserved. If something bothered them like an itch or an ache, they simply observed the sensation, they breathed and let it pass without judgment and without an emotional reaction. At the end of the 8 weeks, when these participants were exposed to negative external stimuli, aka pain, they felt it, yes, but for them it was a neutral sensation. Their brains did not produce a pain response. They experienced what would ordinarily be painful as just another sensation. Normally, it would make them wince and tense up, but they had trained themselves to observe pain calmly and without emotion, and it held no power over them. After just 8 weeks of mindfulness exercises, they had rewired their brains to effectively manage pain. Bringing this back to birth, just a few minutes of mindfulness practice every day are all that you need to literally rewire your brain to experience labor as work, but not pain. You are built for hard work, but no one is built for pain. Pain is a sign that something is wrong, but there is nothing wrong with birth. Now, this all sounds great, but there is a catch. You have to do it. You have to practice consistently. For example, I might know everything about bodybuilding, how to work out, how to eat, prep, train, but if I show up to a bodybuilding competition without ever having gone to the gym, they will laugh me out the door. Why? Because I need to practice. You've got to do it. You've got to build those mental habits, just like building a muscle. So when it comes time to give birth, you can jump right in and go. I've seen it over and over again. Moms who do the mental work just labor better. Now, it's easy for me to say, practice your mindfulness, but what does that actually even mean? Don't worry, I've got you covered. When you jump into the Echo Natural Birth course, I will walk you through our 10 mindful minutes exercises. Just 10 minutes every single day of the right kind of practice will change your brain to effectively cope with labor pain. On top of that, I also show you movements, food ideas, and more, all of which are scientifically proven to reduce your brain's perception of pain. When Sam and I took our birth course, they had us do mindfulness exercises every day, and honestly, it was weird, it was awkward, we had no idea what we were doing, but we kept at it because, it's part of the homework, we're good students, right? And a few weeks in, it became a really relaxing, bonding, and dare I say, enjoyable experience. And by the time we had our daughter, we were pros, and these new relaxation skills came very handy, especially since I was induced. And those Pitocin contractions are rough, but up until the very end, I was able to breathe through them, and for the most part, I was not really bothered by what I was experiencing. It works, I promise. The course is linked below, and the second tool I used is very different from the first, and that is exercise. And admittedly, I had to slow exercise down later in my pregnancy, but I still prioritized some movement every day, just a 30-minute walk, because it is so important to move your body. Why? Why push yourself to walk the block when you don't even want to walk to the car? because mothers who stay active throughout their pregnancies are far more likely to say no to the epidural and cope with labor pains naturally. Now, there are two schools of thought as to why this is the case. The first is that women who work out are tougher. They're more resilient. They push themselves at the gym, and birth is just another place where they push themselves. And there may be some truth to that. I definitely agree that you need stamina to give birth, and that can come from working out. But in my opinion, the biggest reason why active women are more likely to refuse the epidural is due to brain-derived neurotrophic factors. What are those? BDNFs are released after exercise. They put us in a better mood. They help us feel more positive and reduce sensations of pain. And when you release these BDNFs regularly for about 12 weeks, then over time, they build up in the brain, making you more resilient to pain. So back up with me real quick. By exercising regularly for about 12 weeks, your brain builds up a wall that strengthens you against the perception of pain and increases positivity, feelings of happiness, and calm. I find it very hard to believe that some women are just more capable of giving birth than others when all women are strong, all women have what it takes. So no, I don't believe that active women are necessarily tougher when it comes to birth, but neurologically, they do have an advantage because their brains have been building up these pain-reducing BDNFs for months. And guess what? So can you. The Echo Natural Birth course includes a simple workout schedule that is pregnancy safe and very easy to follow no matter your fitness level. For most women, it is safe to do these exercises even if you haven't been active your entire pregnancy up until this point. But obviously consult your healthcare practitioner first so I don't get sued. The amount of time you exercise, the way you exercise, even where you exercise can all impact your brain's response to pain. But don't worry, I make it too simple when you follow my birth prep program. All right, the third tool I use to prepare my brain to effectively manage pain is my husband, who is not a tool, except in this context. That's right, my husband is my personal best and favorite labor coping tool. It sounds kind of weird, but let me tell you a story about a study. A study that was never completed. Some think tank or other was looking to gather data about the labor and delivery process, so they sent observers in to take notes while women were in labor. Now, these observers were a friendly, neutral presence. In many cases, they chatted, they got to know the laboring women, some offered an encouraging word during labor, and after the birth, they would be on their way. They had to shut the study down because all the women with an observer present were experiencing less C-sections, less complications, and more enjoyable birth experiences. Just having that friendly presence there was enough to change birth outcomes for the better, so the data was skewed and they couldn't continue the study. What they accidentally proved was the powerful effect that a good birth partner can have on your birth experience. When I was newly pregnant with my first baby, I thought, well, birth is all on me. I'm the one who's pregnant, I'm the one with morning sickness, and I'm the one who's gonna push this baby out. But that's just not true. I mean, it is true, but it's not. Research shows that women with a supportive, knowledgeable birth partner are 25% less likely to have a C-section. They are more likely to report a positive birth experience by 31%. They report less pain in labor. They give birth faster. They are less likely to suffer from postpartum depression. And even 6 weeks after giving birth, their babies exhibit less distress, all from having a good birth partner. So why such a big impact? Think about it. You can know all the things, but I mean, this is birth we're talking about. There comes a point where nothing helps anymore and you just want the baby out, and that is your husband's time to shine. This was me. I was in transition. I found it very difficult to focus and continue my breathing. Sam saw me tensing up and he reminded me, relax your face, relax your shoulders, just like we practiced in our birth course. And that is the only way I survived, having my birth partner there to reassure me and get me back on track. So when you get to the point where you're over it, your birth partner is going to be the one to get you past the finish line. A knowledgeable birth partner knows the coping tools that you like best. He's able to jump right in to support and advocate for you, but how do they know what to do? No one is born with this knowledge. Take a birth course, take my birth course. I mentioned previously that Sam and I took our birth education course, and it turned out to be the best purchase of my pregnancy. Josephine's birth was supposed to be an emergency C-section, but because we had done just a little bit of learning, we knew how to beat the odds and achieve the birth we wanted, even under very difficult circumstances. Years later, as a doula and Lamaze instructor, I am passionate about helping my clients achieve similar results using the best tools that modern research has to offer. The Echo Natural Birth course includes 8 weeks of mindfulness exercises scientifically proven to help you manage pain and help dad support you along the way. Plus, for a limited time, I am offering a complimentary coaching session to all birth course students that is 1 hour to pick my brain about all things pregnancy, birth, postpartum. We'll develop your birth plan, go over postpartum prep, anything you want. I had one client who said, Maria, I want a fast labor. So we worked on that, and she gave birth in just 3 hours. So whatever you want your birth to look like, my time is dedicated to you, but you have to act now because I am going to be removing this add-on very shortly. I hope you liked this video. If you did, you are gonna love my other stuff, so hit subscribe to get the evidence-based tips you need to have the kind of birth you want, and I will see you next time.